Two of the most iconic voices in golf are back to save the day and ready to entertain Kostis and McCord. Off their rockers.
We're back with another great episode of Kostis and McCord Off Their Rockers at an incredibly special place. We're at the Arizona Biltmore. It is a magnificent course opened in the 1920s, and it's been completely redone. Their one course is completely redone by Tom Lehman just over 2 years ago. Gary and Peter will be joining us in just a second. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with all your golfing friends. Hit that notification button below so you don't miss an episode. And we've got a very special guest. Peter and Gary are going to interview today the patriarch, the godfather, the creator of professional sports in the state of Arizona, Jerry Colangelo, former owner of the Phoenix Suns, former owner of the Arizona Diamondbacks, and owner of the Arizona Biltmore Golf Club and the Wigwam Golf Club. And Jerry's got some great stories to share with Peter and Gary. Coach Kostis has a great tip with his special student, Gary McCord. So let's get right to our interview. Peter, Gary, and the incredible, iconic legend, Jerry Colangelo.
Welcome to a very, very special edition of Kostis and McCord Off Their Rockers. You guys know us as a couple of idiots. Today we're joined by somebody who is far from that. And this is a man that I first moved out here in the early 90s. Gary did as well. And this man was, to my way of thinking, Mr. Phoenix, Mr. Arizona, and certainly Mr. Sports in this state. And almost all of what we have in our golf world, and as well as in the sports world of the NBA, NFL, NHL, you name it, is the result of what this man, Mr. Jerry Colangelo, did. Jerry, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Appreciate it.
Always good to see you.
Good to see you, Gary.
We do talks together.
Yeah, we do.
I'm there and he talks and I listen.
Works both ways. It works both ways.
Yes, we have. I mean, you are the father of sports here. Can you give us a brief roll through of how that all started, where you came from,
Sure.
and how you got Arizona to really put their arms around basketball and also the baseball?
Well, I was involved in sports as an athlete 100 years ago, pretty much. Thinking of my age, but back in Chicago in the Midwest, and had opportunities to sign major league contracts as a left-handed pitcher. A guy who pitched behind me in high school was Jim Bouton from Yankee fame, if you will, but more importantly, ball four.
Yeah.
And then basketball was a real driver for me, and highly recruited coming out of high school, and had over 60 offers to go to anywhere I wanted to in the country. And I would have signed a baseball contract if they had raised the ante just a little bit. I was offered 25. I wanted 50 to buy.
Was that dollars?
$50,000 to buy my mom a house. She had nothing. She was only went through the 4th grade in school, and I came from a tough neighborhood, Italian-American neighborhood, and learned a lot of things about being fair, honest, hardworking. I mean, that's where I got who I am today. And went to Kansas to be with Wilt Chamberlain, thinking we'd win a championship, and he quit to sign with the Globetrotters during my freshman year when we were ineligible back then in the rules.
Yeah, freshmen were ineligible for quite some time.
Right. So I lockered next to him. We became friends, and he told me he was signing with the Trotters for $75,000, and that was 1957. When he left, I left. I went back to Illinois. I went to the University of Illinois, my home state school. The reason I'm giving you that backdrop is a few years later, I'm out of school. I'm playing semi-pro ball, but I had, at least in the Midwest, name recognition through athletics. And I met someone who had a dream in Chicago. He was in the incentive marketing business, and I was 26. And his dream was to bring pro basketball to Chicago. There were only 9 teams in the NBA at that time. So For 6 months, we hustled the deal. I met with with people I never would have met had it not been for what we were trying to get accomplished. Lamar Hunt, by way of example, became a limited partner. I remember flying to Kansas City with my boss, Dick Klein, and I met him, met Hunt. He was a terrific guy, and was that way his entire career. And now his son Clark has taken over and doing a fabulous job with the Chiefs. But it was through that association, through name recognition, that I became part of the Chicago Bulls franchise. So, very quick story on that, which might be a little bit funny. First of all, we're on Rush Street, Klein and myself having dinner 2 weeks before the owners are meeting in New York to make a final decision. And Klein said, we don't even have a place to play yet. We have not had a commitment from the Wirtz family that own the Blackhawks, and they owned the stadium at that time. I said, I know that, but we can play at the amphitheater, which is the old stockyards where they used to slaughter everything. And the smell was overwhelming. I mean, it just lingered forever. But so he said, and we don't have a name. And I said, I haven't thought on that. He said, what's that? I said, well, first of all, we need something that really stands out for Chicago, a toughness, a meanness in terms of something. He said, what are you talking about? And I said, well, the amphitheater, toughness, cows, sheep, blah, 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 bulls. He says, that's it. That's how the Bulls were named.
Really?
And it only cost,
So you
yes, it only cost
Chicago
a
Bulls
steak
Bulls.
and a couple of drinks is all it took. Today, people pay millions of dollars for that kind
That's
of
great.
thing.
That is great.
And
I thought you guys because of the slaughter yard there.
No.
And it smelled like old bulls.
No, well, that's I could have used that as a. But anyway, then a few weeks later, we were awarded the franchise. I didn't know this, but I was a young guy in what was about to become almost overnight a growth industry. So Chicago came in '66. In '67, Seattle and San Diego came in. Seattle is now Oak City. San Diego is now Houston. So during that year, I was offered a deal to go to Seattle. And it was not the number one job, the GM job. And I said, well, that's a lateral move anyway, and I'm a Chicago guy. I'm happy where I am. And so I waited, and then the second year of the Bulls, Milwaukee and Phoenix were announced. And I had offers from both.
Okay.
Milwaukee and Phoenix, young guy, growth industry, not many people with experience, but it was a mom and pop league. The payroll in Chicago that first year was $180,000 for 12 players.
Oh my God.
National TV money was $100,000 per team.
Jesus.
Ticket prices were $2, $3, $4, $5. It was just getting started.
I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second. You saw a growth industry,
right?
You just gave us some prices back then of what it cost for the franchise, the payroll, the whole thing. Did you ever see this much growth back then?
No, but I was a believer. I really did. Phoenix paid $2 million for the franchise, and our payroll was a little over $200 that first year. But I was part of the growth, so I was not surprised or taken back by what was happening, because I was helping make it happen at the time. So I put 50 years into the NBA and had every position that was possible on a league basis. Chairman of the board, chaired every committee. I was a lifer, in terms of the game. And I scouted, I coached, I managed, ended up putting a group together to buy. Not that I had the money to do it, but I had paid my dues in the sense that when I came here and accepted the job, I told the media, what we have to do is this. The community owes us nothing. We have to earn the respect and support of the community by how we conduct ourselves, not only on the court, but in the community. Are we going to make it a better place in which to live? Well, that kind of followed me, and I developed a lot of relationships, and when the time came and I needed help, support, I had people there willing to do so. So there's something to be learned from that, and that's something I've passed on to young people about, what's really important in life in terms of what you're trying to accomplish. There was a guy named Red Holtzman who was the coach of the Knicks. But when I met him, it was the first year of the Bulls. KC had a tournament, the NAIA tournament, small college tournament, and only 5 teams were even scouting back that day. So for 3 days, we watched 8 games a day. Each night we stayed in the Mulebach Hotel in KC, if you know that hotel, pretty famous in its day. The Italian Gardens restaurant around the corner. After 8 games, we'd go to the Italian Gardens, sit at a round table, and I just listened all night, listening to everything. And on the 3rd night, Red turned to me and he says, "Hey kid, you're going to be okay in this league." I said, "What do you mean, Red?" "You keep your mouth shut because you don't know anything." Only he used flowery language. That bonded the two of us. So for the next year, we traveled together. Because it gets lonely. I don't have to tell you guys.
The road is a tough place,
right? And so we were together in West Virginia at a tournament just before Christmas. He's on his way back to New York. I'm going to Chicago. We're going to meet in Portland at the Far West Classic a few days after Christmas. And I said, he says, "I'll see you in Portland." And I said, "I don't think so." He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "You're going to be coaching the Knicks before the week's over with." He said, "I would never do it." Well, he was. I got to Portland. He was a no-show. I put the TV on. Red Holtzman was named today coach of the New York Knicks. So I sent him a telegram. That was the only way to try to reach him. And so, having started at the bottom and working your way up the ladder, you learn a lot. If you can listen, surround yourself with people who have made it and done it, you can learn an awful lot because you don't have all the answers, far from it. And so I've been blessed in so many ways, being in a position where I had the opportunity, exposure to people who were pretty successful. Anyway, it's been fun. It's been a great ride, and I'm excited to see what's happened in this community. That's for sure.
Well, it's a little bit. You could call it fortuitous, good timing, serendipity, whatever you want to call it. But you were in a growth industry.
Yes.
You learned your work ethic from your heritage.
Yes.
From your city.
Right.
And from listening to people and whatnot. Yeah. But now you come in a growth industry to a growth city.
Yes.
And then I want people to understand a little bit about what you've done to help this city get where it is today, because it isn't just about the NBA.
Okay.
NBA was the genesis of your business life, I suppose,
yes.
but now it's expanded tremendously.
Well, I'm going to start with this. On my first trip to Phoenix, it was for the interview, to be interviewed by the 3 principals who were yet to be named the Suns, but they were the franchise. I left Chicago. It was 15 below zero at O'Hare. I arrived at Terminal 1, which was torn down
no
some years
longer
ago.
there.
It was 72 degrees. I smelled orange blossoms for the first time. Let's put it this way. By the end of the day, after meeting bankers and meeting people, in those days, the arena, the Madhouse on McDowell, was only 1 year old. That's all it was. So it was the new building. But I walked in and I looked at the seating and I said, we can add a couple thousand seats here. And we did. We went from 10 to 12 too. But I looked around and I had, call it whatever, but I said to my wife later, what I saw was a blank canvas. And I could see where I could paint my own portrait. You know, if you were back east, if you were from the right side of the street or right neighborhood or knew the right people, in the Midwest, much less, but still the same. Here was the Wild West. Yeah. So the opportunities were just looking right at you, staring you in the eye. So that was appealing to me. I've always loved challenges. And so that's the reason I made that decision. Phoenix was what it was at the time. There were 700,000 people in 1968. Today there's 5.5 million people. and I've seen all the growth. I'm an urban person, so I always had a thought I wanted to have a building downtown, but I had to wait my time. And once I was able to put a group together to buy the team in '87, immediately said, downtown is where I want it. I could have gone around the valley. There were 2 or 3 places that wanted us. I said, no, it belongs downtown. That's where all roads lead. It's the way it should be. A lot of people can benefit, because when you build a building 30 miles away, who benefits? The team, the building itself, and not many other people do. So again, being who I am, where I came from, my beliefs, etc., it was going downtown. And I really felt strongly that we could be an impetus to turn it around, and we did. So I was excited to see the arena, and then a few years later, in the late 90s, to be awarded a baseball franchise conditioned on having a ballpark, because we couldn't do it without a roof to stop the heat. And so it's been a great period of time for me. I always believed people would live downtown. You had to give them the reasons to do so. I also believed in the growth and what was going to happen here from day one. I remember my partners and I bought some land out in Buckeye, which could have been East LA back then, 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And people said, what are you, crazy? What are you doing with all that desert? And I said, well, that's today.
Eventually.
But it's not if, it's only when it's going to happen. Well, a couple of 2.5 years ago, we sold 37,000 acres of that dirt to Howard Hughes Corporation, the largest master plan developer in the country. And they became our partner. They bought most of it. We kept a little piece of it. But it was the largest sale in the history of real estate in the state. So you have to have a vision. You have to have confidence in what you're doing and confidence with the people you're dealing with. And, trust goes a long way. Yeah. And that's been, my calling card forever has been, if I say I'm going to do something, I'll do it. And if I shake hands on a deal, I don't care how big the deal is, it's a done deal. And so it's served me well.
Well, I have a personal creed that my grandfather, I'm Greek, you're Italian, it's not that far across the water. The creme de la creme, the people at the top of the pyramid, are the people who do the right things for the right reasons. The next level down is the people who do the right things, but maybe not for the right reasons. Then you go down to people who do the wrong things, but they do it for a right reason. And then the bottom of the barrel are the people who do the wrong thing for the wrong reasons. You are at the peak of the mountain.
Well, I appreciate that.
You have done. I was a season ticket holder year one with the D-backs, right? And when we moved out here, you couldn't get a Suns ticket.
Yeah.
I mean,
we had a wait list of about 5,000.
It was unbelievable.
At the time,
You couldn't. Yeah. And you made the city alive, but you did it, like as you said, benefit the people downtown.
Right.
Do the right thing for the right reasons. People will come, and they did. And to a large extent, that's why Phoenix is what Phoenix is. Now I'm going to ask you, how'd you get involved in golf with it?
It wasn't because I was a great golfer. As an athlete, I'm left-handed, and I've done everything left-handed except 2 things. I play golf right-handed, and I batted right-handed. And batting right-handed cost me in baseball because pitchers want to protect their hands at the plate. So a left-handed pitcher would be batting left-handed because you're protecting your left hand. I was this way, and I get hit at Crosley Field in Cincinnati in the American Legion National Finals. We're knocked out of it. I'm in the last batter in the last inning. I played outfield when I didn't pitch. And I get hit in the hand, and the umpire called foul ball. I'll tell you, it sounded like it hit wood, but it was my hand, and it was broken immediately, and I went down to the ground, and I punched the ground. How stupid, with the hand. And everything was like, It swelled up like you can't believe. And then I was put in a cast like this for 7 weeks on my way to Kansas to be with Will Chamberlain. And basically that was the end of my pitching. Now, I still pitched in college, but I couldn't throw anymore. I mean, I went slower, and slowest.
Knuckleball.
Junk. I was all junk. But I think this, you can really do a lot of things in the community if you're willing to be a giver. And it's always been easy for me to do that. And I think the benefit for me is I came from nothing. And I always felt this way. I could lose whatever I have and I can go right back to where I came from and I'd be just as happy. So my thinking in the community is to help participate on all of the charities and all of the movements that took place and the boards. And it was very time consuming, true. But to me, I was investing in the city. I was investing in the state. I wasn't looking for any personal gain from any of that, except that's what I think people should do. If you're a taker all the time, like a lot of people are, it doesn't go very far. And you get caught. You really do.
Yeah. Well, we're at this beautiful place. I can't believe what you've done with the clubhouse and the pro shop and the redo of the golf course. It's spectacular.
I didn't answer your question about the golf. You said how
No, that's what I was coming back to.
Okay,
I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back.
Okay,
So you're involved in a big way with the wigwam, with the with here at the Biltmore. What attracted you to get into golf? Obviously, you said it wasn't your ability to play, but it had to be something.
Well, as a kid, I caddied at a lot of golf courses around Chicago, Olympia Fields, you know that one, Flossmoor Country Club, Idlewild Country Club on the far south side. Didn't play a lot of golf because I was busy working. I used to have 3 or 4 paper routes, and I was busy all the time making a buck as best I could, stocking cans and so forth in little grocery stores, but I loved all of it. I mean, to me, that was the best way to grow up. And so when I came here, golf was a big thing. We built a small house at Moon Valley Country Club. I live at Phoenix Country Club. So most of my life in Arizona has been on a golf course. I used to play when I was younger. I used to come out here to this golf course with Cotton Fitzsimmons, the late Cotton Fitzsimmons, one of my early coaches. And we played in the heat of the day in the summer, 115 degrees. We would just leave the office, come here. Nobody was on the course. We'd play 2 hours and run, hit and run. Get back in the car, get back to the office. I loved it. It was fun. Anyway, I didn't really jump into, I was a Thunderbird in the early days, put my 10 years in. And so I worked the old Phoenix Open at Phoenix Country Club and Arizona Country Club before they moved to the big course. And then this opportunity, fast forwarding the wigwam, and these 2 courses became available through a bankruptcy. And I was now pretty heavily involved in real estate with my partners. And we liked what the bankruptcy opportunity presented to us. I liked the wigwam from the first time I saw it, and that was many years before. But it needed a lot of work. The courses did, the hotel did for sure, but it had all the bones and it had the history, and there's something to be said for having a tie-in with history. And these 2 courses here, and this property here in the heart of Phoenix, there's not a better place in the city of Phoenix than right here. This is the heart of it. So the combination was, let's go, on this particular investment, and it was the first fund that we had created. So we have 5 courses. We do a couple 100,000 rounds in those 5 courses, and it's not so much now more rounds. It's not. It's improving everything we have, raising the bar in terms of the experience, in terms of the facilities. A good example is I think the number in redoing the Adobe course was about 11 million. And when we were just about finished, we put another $1 million just in trees. Now, we're going to see that in a couple of years, but we didn't buy small trees. And the reason is, at my age, I don't have time to watch trees grow. So we bought big trees, but they're more expensive. And so I take great joy in what we have here in this property because I know how people feel about it. They love it. And that's what makes me tick. When you can do something to satisfy people and give them things like a great experience, that's where I am.
Yeah. Let me, the last story we'll get to. You're a great visionary. I'm going to give you my rendition of a great visionary. In 1983, I was just elected to the board, PGA Tour Policy Board.
Yeah.
3 members of the policy board. We're playing at your golf course, Phoenix Country Club, in the middle of the town. People are coming from all over. It was unbelievable. I get a call from Dean Beeman. He says, Gary, I want you and Ed Sneed, who was going off the board, I'm going on the board, to go out and look at this property we've got in North Scottsdale. So Ed and I get in the car and we go out there. We keep driving, we keep driving, we keep driving. We finally come there and I'm sitting on this burn with the All-American Canal there. I'm looking right where the airport's going in, right?
Yeah.
I'm looking at it, I'm like, all I see is tumbleweeds and coyotes. What the hell is Beeman thinking about?
Yeah.
So I go back and I got to make a presentation to the board.
Yeah.
Gary, what'd you find there? I said, well, here's what I found. I found cactus, coyotes, I found a couple of tarantulas, and rattlesnakes everywhere. I told Dean, I said, are you nuts? We can't go there. We've got all the people in the world right here. No one's ever going to show up out there.
Right.
And he goes, we got the land for $1. I go, you paid too much. I told him, you paid too much. So that's my vision right now. What, there were 720,000 people there last year. So I'm not really good at your business at all.
Well, you are good at this. You're willing to take risk, aren't you?
I did there. I told him not to.
Well,
yes, I will take a risk.
My point is this. Unless you're willing to take risk, calculated risk in my case is the way I would describe it, you'll always limit yourself. But those who have been really successful are willing to roll the dice, again, calculated, not just blindly. And if it weren't for people like that, a lot of things would never have happened.
Yeah. I agree. That's a great credo.
Yeah.
Great credo.
Yeah, you're talking stuff that I teach in golf to tour players and whatever. You know, there's tour players who will go out there and play very well and whatever, but when that real moment, that defining moment arises, right, on the back nine on Sunday, if they're not willing to take a calculated risk, they're never going to end up in the winner's circle. Yeah. They have a nice top 10 and they have a nice living, but they're not going to be a winner.
You know, I want to just tell you personal feelings, and that is few people get the opportunity to play for all of it, all the marbles. You know that, be it in golf, be it in any sport. You know, in basketball, my teams, when I had the Suns, for 20 years were one of the top 4 teams in basketball, record-wise. The only thing we didn't do was win a championship, but we were there knocking all the time. We should have won 3 times. It didn't happen. It wasn't meant to be. Baseball, 7 years, we won a World Series in year 4. So in that World Series year, we opened at home. And the media had their media day the day before the first game, and they wanted to interview me, and they did. And they said, well, how do you feel? You're the fastest team ever to get to the World Series. What do you think about that? And I said, well, we feel blessed, we're honored, and who better to beat than the world's most famous team, the New York Yankees, if we're going to win our first championship. I said, are you not guaranteeing, are you predicting you're going to win? And I said this, and it's been transcribed. No, but if I had my druthers, the series will go 7 games. We'll win it in front of our home crowd in the 9th inning, bases loaded, and Gonzo at the plate.
No, you didn't.
I swear.
No, you did
Okay.
not.
But there was only 1 out, not 2. So here I am, in my seats to the right of the dugout in the ninth inning, when this is all unfolding in Game 7. Bases are loaded. Here comes Gonzo, and I looked up and I said, Lord, you have a funny sense of humor. I worked my entire life to win an NBA championship. Didn't happen, and we're about to win one here. Bingo.
Before he got the head over the truck.
Yes.
Yeah. I was there. That was.
I mean, yeah, that
That's
really
unbelievable.
did happen. And so to have that experience, to participate in 2 games in the NBA, considered the greatest games of all time, that was another moment. And then all the things I had in USA basketball, winning all the gold medals. I mean, very few people have much opportunity to do any of those things. So I don't know why it happened, but that's what the Lord had in store for me.
Well, and for people who don't know, that was 2001, and that was post 9/11,
Right.
Which added a whole new
Absolutely.
measure of definition to that victory.
Absolutely.
I mean, the Yankees from New York City, that's where 9/11 occurred, and then we're out here in the West, and we're the underdogs, and the whole thing, and it goes 7 games. I mean, it was one of the most memorable World
Yes.
Series,
It sure was.
maybe ever.
Yeah, I see all the listings when they show all the old games and so forth. It's definitely one of the top 3 or 4.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, all I can say is thank you so much for joining us. You added not just a little bit of class, a whole lot of class to these 2
No,
idiots.
it's been my pleasure.
And
My pleasure.
We look forward to coming out here and playing some more.
Anytime. Nice to see
Love
both
to.
of you.
Thank you
to.
so much.
Take care, Peter.
Always good to see you.
Gary.
What an incredible person Jerry Colangelo is, and what he's brought to the state of Arizona and the city of Phoenix is amazing. Don't go away, because when we come back, we've got a great lesson for you today with Coach Kostis and his special student, Gary McCord. Kostis and McCord, Off Their Rockers, a golf production. We'll be right back.
If you love Kostis and McCord's Off Their Rockers, you're going to love one of the best deals you can find in golf. An Inside Golf membership from the team at golf.com. When you sign up today, you'll get instant access to a free year of Golf Magazine, a $20 gift card to Fairway Jockey, 1 dozen Strixon Z-Star XV golf balls. They're great. I'm playing them now. They're really good. And many, many more discounts on Golf Logics, True Spec, and Fairway Jockey products that will take your game to the next level. As an Inside Golf member, you'll have exclusive access to one-of-a-kind golf experiences like the one Gary, Peter, and I attended right before the U.S. Open at Pinehurst. Participants got to meet Peter, Gary, hang out, have dinner, have a drink, and a very special fireside chat at Donald Ross's historic cottage. If you want in on all these incredible offers and special access, sign up for Inside Golf today for the low, low price of just $39.99. Visit golf.com/subscription or click that link below for more information. Visit our website, KostisMcCord.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel or podcast, and follow us on social media at Kostis McCord Off Their Rockers.
Hello, friends. It's Jim Nance of CBS Sports, and I urge you to like and subscribe my brothers, Kostis and McCord, Off Their Rockers right now. You'll enjoy it.
Now it's time for Coach Kostis. Peter gives us some great tips to help our games.
All right, another in the Kostis McCord genre of trying to help you real golfers. And what I mean by real golfers, I mean golfers that are not 16 years old with a Gumby type of spine and a lot of range of motion and quick speed and whatever. Just a real person, middle-aged, or even like us, old. You have to make some accommodations as you age with your golf swing. Now, I want to explain one, which is in my world, right? Power to all fields is no good in golf, correct? So we have to figure out a way of eliminating the rights
Or the left.
and or the lefts, right? So in my opinion, when you're young and you grip the club and a teacher teaches you how to hold the club and use your hands and wrists and arms, if you grip it correctly and you cock it and release it, you should hit a pull, draw, or a hook. In other words,
The reason for that is?
the hand action and the arm swing, when done correctly, eliminates the rights.
Okay. In other words, the toe is closing.
The toe is going to open up going back, close over coming down.
Okay.
Now, we don't want to hit a hook
Right.
or a pull hook,
Right.
right? So, but we don't weaken the grip and take that away to eliminate the rights. We're going to use the hands and arms correctly to eliminate the right side of the golf course.
Okay.
How do we eliminate the left side of the golf course? That comes from body rotation. So what happens is, as I swing my hands and arms and I expect to hit a 15 or 20-yard hook, I'm going to post up on my left side. I'm going to rotate my body through a little bit faster, and that hook turns into a straighter ball. And in fact, if I don't even want to play that, I want to play a cut. This was a term that was coined back in the 80s with Mark Calcavecchia. Power fade. It's where Mark would fully release the hands and arms,
Right.
but never hit it left.
Right.
How did he do it? He made sure that his body rotation exceeded his hand speed. And so what happens is, I'm going to try and hook this 10 yards, but I'm going to really rotate my body fast, and now I hit a 10-yard cut.
Okay.
So the rotation of the body eliminates the lefts, the hands and arms eliminates the rights, and timing is getting those together, right? Now, fast forward to us, which is really a long, slow, painful
Not a
fast forward,
yeah,
but that's okay.
Metaphorically speaking. Fast forward.
We have a grip and a release that we learned eons ago
Yeah.
that eliminates the rights. But what happens to our body?
As we get older,
That's a question you can answer.
doesn't want to move.
Correct.
Doesn't want to do anything.
So what happens is, if I keep my quote unquote stronger grip that I had when I was 25 years old, my body rotation can't keep up with the speed of my hands and arms.
Right.
And so I either got to aim right and play a hook, or I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
So now what happens is, now we weaken the grip as we get older, so that now the club face can still stay square to the ability to rotate the body, which is X miles an hour slower than it used to be. So now with the weaker grip, I can hit the ball straight and not have to worry about really working my body because it doesn't want to work, right? So come on over here. Do you remember the grip you used when you were on tour?
Yep.
Let me see it. Okay, good, hit it. That's a relatively strong grip.
Yeah, I think. I used to play with the club very close.
Uh-huh.
That would be neutral.
Yeah,
That would be wide open.
correct.
I played like this, and I look at old pictures. And I had a huge
Yeah.
slag of the knees, a sliding the knees towards the target, so I could keep that face from going that way.
Yeah, and
And
also
that's-
we wanted to start the ball low because they used to spin so much.
Yeah,
If you didn't have low launch,
Exactly.
you were in trouble,
Exactly.
right?
You're playing a lot of balls that have
So
rubber
now
bands in
take
'em.
take your strong grip and go ahead and release one.
Release one?
Yeah,
Okay.
let it go. So there's the hook we're talking about.
Yeah.
Now, do you have enough body speed to neutralize that?
Well, probably up to about the fourth hole, maybe. And after the fourth hole, not so much.
Okay, so now weaken your left hand grip.
Okay.
Right hand's a little bit more on top. Now go ahead and swing and release it and try to hit the hook. All right, your body speed was a little bit faster than your hand speed that time.
That's I looked down at my hands on that one, and I had, right when I put my hands on it, I said, boy, you got to release the hell out of this thing. So that thing is wide open now, and the only way to get this squared is I got to, that's going to go like that.
So you don't have to weaken it that much,
Okay.
right? So
Well,
this
you
is
said
this is
weak.
this is the whole point is, well, I didn't say,
Don't get mad at me.
there.
Don't get mad at me.
What you have to do as you get older is you have to match your grip position to your ability to rotate your body. As you can diminish your body rotation speed, you have to weaken your grip.
Okay.
So just weaken it a little bit.
Okay. Here we go. Ready?
There you go. See, now that grip matches your body speed right now.
Right.
And that's the whole point.
Right.
Now, the real weird part, here, come back over here one second. There's going to come a day, God willing, that we live long enough.
We already have.
No, I'm sorry, I want to live a lot longer.
Really?
Yeah, stand over there.
Right.
See.
Yeah, he's got to give me.
So now, we've gone from strong in our youth
Yeah.
to a little weaker
Yeah.
in older age.
Yeah.
Now we're going to go to old age, where the body doesn't want to move at all. So all we're going to do is kind of prop ourselves up with a wide stance and don't want to fall over. And now we're just going to do this, right?
Exactly.
But now we got to go back to the stronger grip of our
Yeah.
youth.
Hit it.
You may have to aim a little right because it's going to go low left, but now from here, boom, boom, and you can still play golf.
Yeah.
You can play golf with your hands and arms like that.
Yeah.
You don't have to get a lot of body turn, but you've always got to match up your grip to what you're doing or not doing, whatever the case may be, with your body.
Okay.
You can't just assume one grip for the entirety of your golf life. So when I get a few more years older and I got to stand like this, my grip's going to be strong. I'm going to be cocking it, spanking it, and I can still play.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Lose your hands, you lose your golf club. Lose your golf club, you use your game. That's it, it's gone, right? So start off with your grip, match it up to your body speed. As you get older, be aware of that. And if you start hitting it too much left because your body speed is down, weaken your grip a little bit.
Thanks so much for watching this episode today. Boy, this Arizona Biltmore golf course is beautiful. And you love Peter's tips? I know you guys do. We've got dozens and dozens of tips to help your game on our past episodes. So make sure you subscribe. It's easy, it's free. Click the button, like, and share this with your golf friends. And don't forget, hit that notification button so you never miss a new episode. For Peter, for Gary, for Golf Magazine, Mike Abram, we'll look forward to seeing you again on a new episode of Kostis and McCord Off Their Rockers.